What's happening, people? What's happening? What's happening? How's it going? Yep. I know. It's a Tuesday. I'm not usually here on Tuesdays. I know. Trust me when I say that. But you know what? I got someone that I wanted to bring on. I've been on her show, and I am so happy to be able to bring her here to you all on tonight. We're just going to be, like I said before, we're just going to be talking about whatever it is about Minnesota and things of that sort. But like I always do with everybody that comes on here, I always let them know that I don't know too much about you. Even though I know about her, but y'all know how I say. I don't know too much about you, so I let them give you who they are, and what they do, right? So I'm going to shut my mouth, and Winnie, you got the floor.
Well, thank you for having me on, Tim. This is going to be fun. Okay, about me. uh, well, I'm Dave Schrader's wife. He's been known in the Twin Cities from Darkness Radio on KTLK. Now he's moved over to the Paranormal 60 podcast. So my life has been very much in the paranormal, psychic. I also do tarot readings, but one of my passions is true crime, and I also like to talk about politics and social things that are going on. So I like to have those other outlets that I can express myself those ways, especially with my true crime podcast, because it's something I enjoy doing. Doesn't feel like a job to me. It's a passion of mine. So that's why I do what I do.
Awesome. So, and another thing, my header on my Twitter and my banner now that I use to promote what we do here, right there. That's who did it for
Yep.
me. That's who
Yep. I
did it for
also
me.
do. Yeah, my
Yeah.
digital media service too. I'll give you my link tree, Tim, and just have people connect because I have everything all in one spot. But yeah, I also
Right.
do digital creation. I'm currently working on a couple book covers for some authors, things like that. And I like to do it at a lower cost than what you would, see on Fiverr and stuff, because I know what it's like to struggle starting up your own small business. And usually those small businesses are passions for people, and I don't want them to feel like they can't financially do it. So instead of charging somebody $300 for a book cover, I only charge them 75. So it's like, I still have to make a couple bucks, for my time, but I'm trying to make it as affordable for the everyday person who wants to start a podcast and all this stuff. But there's a lot that goes into it than just interviews. I mean, you have to have aesthetics of, a following, digital stuff, pictures, banners, and all that jargon. So I just try and do it at affordable cost for people.
Right. Yeah, and that's awesome. Like I said, I had been trying to figure it out how to do it and get some people who know how to do that, and then boom, here we go. You
Yeah.
did that, and again, I thank you very much. It looked. I mean, everybody went nuts over it, especially over
Oh,
on
really?
especially over on Facebook. So
Oh,
and
okay,
and
good. Yeah,
yeah,
I think I did it one night. I just like, and those are the things. That's kind of like how with my tarot readings, I'm an empath, so I can really absorb people's vibes, their auras, what they are internally, things like that. So maybe that, for some reason, you look like a superhero to me, so I
check
kind of
me
wanted
out,
to get
right?
that superhero comic book
Ch-
look. So
check me
hey,
out. Right.
yeah.
Don't say that to the wifey because she'll sit there and go, that's not him. But
It,
just as
it's
long,
gonna make your ego.
right? As long as everybody else thinks so, that's what's important at the end of
Yeah.
the day. But anyway, hey, so well, tell us a little bit more about your show. What your show is about, what you talk about, what you do on your show, and make sure you put the tag out there too. So
Yeah. My podcast is Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot podcast. You can just go to Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot.net. That's where you can find my YouTube page and all that stuff. But my true crime show, I'm taking a little bit different approaches to it. I'm not just doing, interviews with true crime authors all the time. I do those, that's part of it. But I also like to look at some social injustices and just people, that have been experiencing certain things, whether it's domestic abuse or racism, things like that. I do want to showcase that, especially with real people dealing with it, because all we see on the news is what they show us. And I'm to the point where we can't trust anything we see on the news anymore. I feel like everything's so fabricated and manipulated that I can't trust what I'm seeing with my own eyes anymore. So I like to get different aspects. And, like you and I are going to have a discussion. You don't really see a white person, a black person having this discussion,
Thank you.
but it needs to happen,
Thank
and
you.
and I look at people, I don't look at people as a race. I want people to start just looking at people as humans, because it's gotten to the point where race isn't even a fact. People just hate each other just to hate each
Just
other. And it's getting to the point where I'm afraid to say one thing or another, because no matter what you say about anything, you're 100% wrong. So
right.
it's just like, what
Well,
do you do? How can we move forward if we can't discuss the problems?
thank you very and look, what you just said, I've said over and over and over. All right. And well, I was going to talk about this later, but we're kind of on the crust of what happened with, like I said, I don't know if you read up on the Patrick Royce situation, why he's not on Twitter anymore. But
Yeah, because of what he posted about some rap music at a basketball game, and people took it as racially insensitive or whatever, and that's why he got booted. So,
so basically what he did is, like I said before, what I think, just my 2 cents in the matter. I think he was trolling. I think he knew there was going to be some type of impact coming from what he said, but I don't believe he thought the impact that he received was going to be the impact that was coming, and he wasn't ready for it, and that's why he ran. My thing is, don't run from it, and he ran. That's the whole thing. Don't go off and delete your Twitter and all this here. That just tells me you're guilty, and you knew in a way that something was going to be coming about this. And just like you said, let's talk about the elephant in the room. You understand what I'm saying? Now, white people have used the word monkey to describe black people for a long time. I mean, that's a fact. We can sit here and we can, Rev, you this and you that if you want. You can look that up. Everything that I try to say is give people opportunity. They can go look it up. But just like you said, you're a white woman, I'm a black man. Here we are having this here conversation, right? You don't see it every day. You don't expect it every day. But you and I we're not like normal people.
No, and that's the thing. We need more people like us in the world running for office, people that are just want to do the right thing. You know what I mean? It's a DTRT. Let's do the right thing here. And yeah, I feel like that we need more discussions like this. We don't even get these kind of discussions from our leaders. All they do is sit there and they act like 3-year-olds on a freaking playground.
Well, it's just like the people on TV, They put these pundits on TV, whether it's CNN, Fox News, or whatever, and they give us the crap that they give us, but they don't really give us the meat of the situation or what happens. We get what they want us to get, and then they take all the fat that what we want, really need, and they just throw it away, and it's gone. And nobody wants to actually sit and actually have a. So I went today. I had a meeting with a gentleman today that I found out. So this gentleman has, and I'm not going to say who it is. We will be bringing him out pretty soon. But I did have a meeting with a man today in Eden Prairie, who
Mm-hmm.
has two kids. And the reason I'm mentioning him now, kind of going into well, like always, you're gonna notice I kind of flow into stuff without finishing the other stuff sometimes. So
Oh, I
you
do
got
it all the time. Don't worry about
right. So you got to catch me at some point in time. But let's do this here. But I think you and I can agree that it's time for us to get to the point to where we can start saying, let's come together as a people, not as a
Yes.
race, not as black and white, Mexican, but as a people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think for a while everybody wanted labels and then they didn't want labels and now they don't want labels, but they want to be labeled without it being labeled. I'm, and I just like, I'm to the point where, I've had people come up to me and like assume that I'm racist just because I'm white and I
Uh,
should have white guilt. And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. And I feel like that's more racist than anything. Just assume somebody's racist just because of the color of their skin. There's no difference in the other way around. And I don't like being treated like I'm a racist because of the color of my skin, because that is completely not in my persona at all. And yeah, so I feel like there's just this constant divide that we think we're coming together, but we're still separated. And we got to figure out how to get rid of that barrier.
yeah. And I think
Just be a people.
no, understood. And I think it's about time, like you said,
Mhm.
to start trying to figure out how do we get over this barrier? How do we get over the point that as long as you and I are at each other, they can do whatever they want to do.
Mhm.
They they take race, and they do what, no matter if it's the Republicans or the Democrats, both of them do it, right?
Oh yeah.
Republicans swear to God that the Democrats is more racist than the Republicans, and they fight back and forth over that. And I sit there and I look at it and go, "Oh, I can tell you for sure, it's both sides. So stop it.
Yeah.
Just stop it, and let's get along. Let's do things that's going to make, like I said, when they sit there and say, let's make America great again. Okay, but here's
Mhm.
the deal: America was never great for people who look like me. I want that
Mhm.
period. So when they say let's make America great, what period are you talking about? You're not talking about the 60s and the 60s, 50s, and the 40s, because it was not great for black people. You're not talking about
No.
the 30s, the 20s, or the 10s, because you was hanging us out of trees. So when we say, well, let's make America great, what part of America are we talking about going back to? We don't want to go back. We want to go forward. So if we're
Right.
going to make America great, let's make it great for everybody.
Right. And that's, and I feel like, and that ties into the Great Society that we were going to talk about,
Well,
and how government has segregated people by race, but now it's become not necessarily race, but it's basically class warfare. And, keeping a certain group oppressed. And unfortunately, the Black community was easy pickings for them to do
yeah,
that. So when the Great Society happened, and what the Great Society was, it was a part of the Civil Rights Act that Lyndon Baines Johnson signed into office. This is post Kennedy's assassination. And basically what it did was is said, okay, we will help with housing, we will help with groceries, but you only can have one income in the household. You have to have a limited amount of income in the household in order for you to receive this. And this is where the projects were born. The government started building up all these Section 8 apartment buildings, and that's where all the subsidized rent and all that stuff for those places that they were receiving the welfare for. But the reason is prior to the civil rights movement and all that being enacted, Black people at the time were making pennies to a white man's dollar.
That's
You
right.
guys weren't paid a lot, so you needed two incomes to basically cover one person's income as a white family. Now, in order for black families to receive these type of welfares, you can only have one income in the house, but we need two incomes. But if we get the welfare, we'll have more than just two incomes. We'll have even more abundance of financial, stability. Okay, then what did that do to the black family? That tore the black family apart. And at the time, actually, white people had a higher rate of divorce than black families did. But after that was enacted, black divorce rates skyrocketed. They went into the projects. So the fathers were put out of the home. Single mothers were stuck in these apartments raising children, and then crime was involved in. But that's exactly where they introduced crack cocaine, was on those projects. So it's almost like you systematically, since they signed in the Great Society, it almost feels like it just enslaved the black people even further to depend on government, financial stability. Basically, what they should have done is said, all right, then you want to know what? We are going to pay for your college and give you the education you deserved all along. That's what they should have done for the civil rights movement, and to give a leg up for the black communities to become doctors and lawyers and not have to wait till the 80s and 90s for that to happen. It could have happened so much sooner for the black communities, and it's so frustrating because I feel like they don't know this kind of history, and it's very frustrating because it's like I feel the government is more racist to the black people by keeping them down, saying you're poor, you're black, you don't know any better, we'll just take care of you. That's how I feel the government looks at the black community.
Well, and they always have looked at the black
Hmm.
community that way. It's like, how can we
Yeah.
control you? You know.
Yes.
So what they do is they go out and they basically get gatekeepers, what we call them today. I call them overseers, and it's no
Hmm.
different than the plantation. So you have your overseers, the one who get to walk around with the whip, black people, and
Hmm.
keep everybody in our little area. And if one runs
Hmm.
away or one gets away, we either going to go get him or we'll let him go and be done. But another thing that happened to the black community, because I'm from the South, right?
Hmm.
So when black people start migrating out of the South, the whole thing was, okay, you go north and you set up a good life, but you come back and get the
Hmm.
people who are left behind, and you teach us, and then we leave and then we come back. So the whole mindset was, you go get, you come back, you go get, you come back, and you start helping and working the community. The problem
Hmm.
was, all of a sudden, the ones who left got up there and was like, holy smoke, I'm living the good life, I don't want to go
Hmm.
back there. So they never came back to bring what they learned from the North back to the South. And the people who was in the
Right.
South was still going through what we was going through. So that
Hmm.
and at the same time, just like you said, you had the great society going on where, okay, if you need help as a woman, we don't want to help the man. We don't have nothing to do with the black man. But as a woman, we're gonna put you in a good place. We're gonna give you everything you want. We're gonna give you food stamps. We're gonna give you a roof over your head and the whole nine. And they knew what they were doing. The Democrats knew what they was doing. If we get these women and we tell these women we're gonna take care of them and we give them just a little power, that's our voting block forever. Forever.
Hmm.
That will be, and it worked because the black woman is the voting block for the Democratic Party. When the Democratic Party gets in trouble and they really need to vote to turn out, boom, they go to the black woman.
Right. And if you actually like follow the history of political parties, we had today's Democrat is not your Kennedy Democrat. They're completely two different species. But once Kennedy was assassinated, and then you had kind of the hippie movement, and things started becoming more liberal based, more liberal social movements and things like that, free love, drugs, things. People started having that more liberal mentality and equal rights and stuff, not just for Black people, but for women. Feminism was starting to ramp up. But one thing that was starting to ramp up, and that was socialist movements, and one of the prominent leaders, and that was Saul Alinsky. Now, Saul Alinsky was a Marxist and a communist, and he basically laid the Democratic Party's playbook once, I believe, I would say mid 90s, things started really turning for the Democratic Party. I mean, we had Bill Clinton in office, but then you had Hillary, and Hillary Clinton was a student of Saul Alinsky. And what he taught was the communist socialist playbook, where they divide and conquer and segregate groups and hold their thumbs over groups. They force you guys to depend on them. And that was the tactic that they used in the Black community when they signed the Great Society. It's basically a socialist Marxist move where they will separate the Black family, isolate the Black single mom, give her everything she needs, but make sure she's so dependent that she will vote us in every year and gain power every year. That's a tactic right out of Saul Alinsky's playbook.
Right. And
Mhm.
the thing that gets me about the Republican Party is once they started seeing that Democrats literally kicking Black men to the curb. The Democrats, do they want Black men to vote? Yes, they do. And they hope they would vote for them. But the Black men in the Democratic Party is not something that they actually, go after all the time. They don't go after the Black men all the time. And so when I first voted, right, I'm a military brat. My father did 25 years in the Marine Corps. And, at the time, they teach you that the Republicans take care of your daddy's paycheck. So if you want your daddy to get paid, you vote for Republicans, right? So that's why I voted for the Republican Party, because I'm like, if y'all take care of my daddy's paycheck, then I've got to vote for you, no ifs, ands, or buts. Until I started really looking into who the Republican Party really is. I was always conservative. My grandfather died a Republican. I've got uncles who are still Republicans today. They never made that switch. Now, I was born, I'm a segregationist kid. When I was born, on the way home from the hospital, if my mom and dad had to use the bathroom, they could not stop at a white gas station and use the white bathrooms. When I was born, they could not drink out of the white fountain. When I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, on Wednesdays was the only time Black people can go to the zoo. So I was born under segregation, right? And I lived there. When my grandfather was protesting for the garbage men to get more money, my grandfather was bit by a dog. So, like I said, I know what racism looked like. I know what racism smelled like, and I can honestly got people tweets and say who's racist and who's not. But the Republicans never really went after the Black man when he was sitting on an island by himself. Because, like I said, the Democrats threw him away. We don't need you. We don't want you. Get out of the homes. We're going to take care of these women. And that's what always has gotten me about and the way that the Democrats have treated, I mean the Republicans had treated black men. I left the Republican Party because of the lies that Ronald Reagan told about the welfare queen. Ronald Reagan started that lie. I also left him because of the crack that the Ronald Reagan administration introduced to the black community. Period, point blank. I was going to vote for Bush, but I decided not to vote for Bush after Bush decided to run that Michael Dukakis ad with Willie Horton being racist. Right? I mean, that was if you ever watch that ad, you ever want to see why a lot of black people steered away from the Republican Party, watch that Willie Horton ad. That's why I finally left the Republican Party. That ad did it for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and I don't understand why, because you would think, it could very well be. I'm not a black guy, but I've known a lot of black conservative men, and if they come out as a black Republican, they are chastised as being called as an Uncle Tom, a sellout, a race traitor, because I've actually heard it. So there is that aspect of it, and I'm not sure if there's a huge stigma of black Republican men. But people don't understand. The Democrats were the ones that wanted segregation and KKK. I mean, you've heard of the Dixiecrats. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the KKK was formed by the Democratic Party in the South, and my family has also dealt with racism because my family was white, but growing up in very southern North Carolina during the 50s and 60s, it was a very racist town, but my grandfather was the constable of the town, and he was the only one that would address the black community's emergencies and things like that, because the other police force wouldn't. So they had to hire a constable, which was my grandfather, and they had the KKK burning crosses in their yard because they helped the black people in the community. And then, and my family is not innocent on owning slaves. Being from the South, my whole family, it happened. But one of the plantations that we owned, I think she was like my great sixth grandma or something, but she would actually go down when she would purchase slaves. She would get all the children from the same family, so the kids didn't get separated, and she would try and get the parents. So she was actually because it was going to happen. So she's like, this is happening, so I might as well do it the best way I can. So she was actually trying to keep families together. And she would have the parents out in the field working, and she'd bring all the kids in the house, and she was educating them, teaching them how to read, write, and do all that. But we don't hear stories like that at all. But, and it's just like, it's such a rich history. Where can we learn for that? Because I feel like we have not grown mental, maturity, I guess you would say. And we're still at that very immature thing when it comes to race, where it's just we should be further along with this than we are right now, in my opinion, from where we've come from. It's it's awful from what happened, but we have grown. But I think we've kind of hit a standstill for a while here, especially the last couple decades. It's been just brutal, and it's every day there's something about race in the news. And
well, the only time, and the only time we really, really dig deep into race was something like George Floyd. I know George Floyd makes a lot of people cringe, but at the end of the day, with Black Lives Matter and things of that sort, Black Lives Matter is a cringe group. They are, but they made people start thinking and talking about racism and race, right? Yeah. They made people start thinking and talking about, because you and I did the Trial 4, right?
Yeah.
You told me about that series. I watched that series, and we kind of broke that series down. Black Lives Matter got people to start thinking how black men are railroaded in this here justice system, right?
Right.
It's just like I said before with George Floyd. George Floyd wasn't the prize, and to get white people to understand that, because they're so mad at George Floyd wasn't our prize. Our prize was Derek Chauvin. That was the prize. They just put George Floyd up here because George Floyd got what? A white cop. That's the only reason he's up here. It could have been anybody. It could have been and should have been Philando Castile.
Yeah.
Right? But it wasn't. Yeah. It just happened to be a drug addict, a woman abuser, a man who was going downhill. It just happened to be him. It just happened to be him. But he got a cop. And that forced people to talk about race, whether it was good or bad. I see some bad things that are being said, and I see some good things that are being said. But then I also look at it and go, at least we're talking. I mean,
yeah, exactly. And it's like one of those things too with cops. You're going to have some bad ones. It's just going to happen. It's funny, with everything going on with a lot of stuff with OJ and things coming out with that Manhunt documentary. It was funny because Mark Furman, of all people, did you know that he actually sued the police department?
Right.
Because his job has caused him to become a racist, and he's fantasizing about murdering black people. And I'm like, whoa, what happened here? Now, come on, you can't tell me your job made you racist. You had to have something in your bones prior to that. But cops, regardless whether they're working in the black communities, if they're working in poor white communities, because we know, there's a lot of crime in poor white communities too. It's not a skin issue, it's a money issue. People who live in poverty are going to commit crime no matter what your race is. But yeah, it was just I was just so baffled by it. And I'm just like, how back then could something like that have happened and not be addressed? But I really feel these cops are going into these places and they're just so on edge all the time, no matter what. And it's, I don't know. I don't know what to say to cops. So, other than I feel like maybe they should get, psychological evaluations every 6 months to make sure that they're on point, on key, that they're not going to be a hair trigger away from taking an innocent life away. I don't know what the answer is. One thing I wish would happen more is people in the communities becoming officers in that community. I think that would be a huge benefit to the relationships between the community and the police force, because then the police force, they know these people, they've gotten to know them, you grew up together, there's a mutual respect already established. It's not just that defense type, I'm the authority and you're going to do what I say. I don't know, maybe that could be a way. We haven't really tried it, so maybe we can try it. I don't know, I'm willing. Something's got to change.
I've been pushing for that for a long time, because
really?
I think
Okay.
just as well as I do, is the cops out in Woodbury do not treat the citizens out there like the cops treat the citizens in North Minneapolis. I think we can both agree on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have said over and over, we need to start making sure that our kids are staying in school. So therefore, they can be the police of the community.
Mm-hmm.
When the only thing you got is white police officers running around chasing black people, you're going to get that narrative, right? That every cop is bad and every black person is bad. So a black person and a bad black cop I mean, a bad white cop and a bad black man is like oil and water. It's not going to mix.
Yeah,
So
I know.
if I get a black cop and a black man, then we're looking at a whole total different story. The problem
Yeah,
is,
well, it's relatable.
right. The problem is we don't make sure our kids can do their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s to become cops.
Hmm.
There's the problem with that whole situation. You know, most kids, you know, they want to become rappers. If they're not a rapper, they want to be a drug dealer so they can become a rapper. You know,
Yeah.
we don't have those kids growing up now going, you know what? I would like to be a cop. I want to change the scope of my neighborhood. I want to change the trajectory of things that's going on in my neighborhood. We don't have
Exactly.
that. We don't have that. So now
that.
we run into cops like Derek Chauvin. And what people don't realize, Derek Chauvin wasn't a good cop. I mean, at the end of
No.
the day, you got to be real about him. He wasn't that hero cop that they want to try to make him out to be. And like I said before, George Floyd wasn't good either. I mean, there was a reason George Floyd was down in that area where he was, is because bad things happened in that area. That's why he went down there. That's why he did what he did. Like I said, should he have been murdered? I've never said that Derek Chauvin murdered this man. Did he assist in his death? Yes, he did at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Now, I carry Norcan in my vehicle for a reason.
Okay.
If I see someone flopping on the cement like a fish out of water, more than likely they are overdosing. So I'm going to get out and I'm going to pop them one good time, but I'm not going to hold them down. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? So, but all of that we just talked about brings us almost pretty much back to how we got into what we got into. Like you said, it was a great society that started pretty much everything. Started the fatherless homes, right? These black boys running around, didn't have a father to bring them up, to give them the guidance and things of that sort. And it was basically moms who tried to guide young men. And it just turned to a point to where we are where we're at today, and we never recovered.
Right, because I mean, even back then, the mom, even with the welfare she was getting, she still had to work 2 jobs to feed all the kids, and so the kids were left unsupervised a lot, or having young babysitters that would work real cheap that aren't really responsible to take care of kids. I mean, the government really screwed the pooch when they did that. They should have gave the black community the proper education that they deserved and that they didn't get for all those years. Because granted, they had black schools, but they weren't getting the funding and the things like that, the new textbooks, the updated stuff. You guys were probably learning from old,
Yeah.
textbooks from the 1920s, and you guys didn't have a fair shake. And when the government finally didn't fix it, but put in the law that it's illegal to do what everybody was doing, instead of giving you guys an opportunity, they just took control of the whole community. And now it's like, and there are a lot of prominent black people that are successful, and doctors and lawyers, but there could be so many more. And I wish the government would have done what they should have done the right thing at the time.
Well,
And give,
the government never. I mean, let's
oh,
go
that's
all the way
true.
back to the Indian. Let's go all the way back to the. I spent time down in Shakopee at the Dakota Center because I wanted to learn about the Dakota 38 because I had a couple people on Twitter basically telling lies about the indigenous people who went through that. So I was like, you know what? I'm not listening to Twitter. I'm going down there. And I was lucky enough to have someone whose daughter actually worked at that facility down there and hooked me up with a 2-hour learning tour.
Awesome.
Yeah, look, I tell if you ever get a chance to just go through that, it will blow your mind some of the things that you never knew they never taught us in school. But I say all that to say this here. This government, the American government, has never kept their promise. Where's our 40 acres and a mule? If the government would have gave us the opportunity to do the things we could do, look at Black Wall Street, Redwood, Florida. What all those were successful until white people went in and burnt them down. Anytime black look at Wilmington, North Carolina. White people went and burnt that down.
Yep.
So if you give us the opportunity, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, black people are a conservative type people. We're not Republicans, no, but we are a conservative type people. Give us what we need, leave us the hell alone, and watch us build. I mean, half of America is on what we do. I mean, you got little white girls walking around with braids in their hair. Little white boys walking around with their pants hanging down. I mean, that's all black culture. I mean,
oh, I know. Even though it's black culture, some of these pants, man, it looks like they're walking around with a loaded diaper. I'm like, how is this hot? Did I miss something here?
Yeah.
But
it's all things that with the music and the whole nine, it's things that we have set out for everybody, and everybody is able, whether, like I said, whether they're walking around with a dump in there, but everybody is able to enjoy that culture that has been put out, whether it's soul food or any other type thing that's there. But again, I go back to where we started this thing off and saying that we're better together than we are apart, right? We are, when it's all said and done at the end of the day. Hey, but another thing I wanted to get into, have you been keeping up with any of this fraud case?
which fraud case is that?
Anyone, all the money.
There's so many fraud cases that I've covered with my true crime podcast because I'm constantly looking at, fraud with the government. You gotta get a little bit more specific.
Let's go with the feed your future. Let's go with the feed our future, feed your future one. Have you been keeping up with that one at all?
No, because I think it's a scam.
Right.
I saw a little bit. I'm like, oh, scam.
Yeah.
If I see it, I'm like, oh, scam. I don't even read up on it. I'm just like, don't. I just tell people, hey, don't do for this. This is a scam. They're taking all the money. They're only so.
Yep. But what we're going to find out if the Republicans keep pushing. The only thing that really pissed me off about the Republicans is they didn't have subpoena power. They didn't have power to subpoena these people, to get them on record of saying, yeah, I stole the money. The money is sitting is sitting on the edge. They're sitting in a house right now in Somalia, because that's where a lot of the money. I mean, let's be real. That's where a lot of money is at right now, right? That's why they can't recoup this money. That's why they can't get a lot of this money back, because a lot of this money is gone. It is overseas fighting a war over there. And here's the thing. The Democrats knew. They knew it, but because they was getting kickbacks, they just shut their mouth and they just let these people steal from the state of Minnesota and from the taxpayers of Minnesota. That's what happened.
That's a felony. That's wire fraud. It's a felony. Like, that's wire fraud.
Yeah.
Why isn't somebody in jail? Why isn't there a trial?
Well, what we're finding out is the Democrat says there's nothing we can do about it. There's no law.
Oh.
There's no law.
If you're taking money under a false pretense,
Right?
yeah, just for instance, I've been watching, I don't know if you've ever listened to this podcast. Now it's a TV show on Hulu called Scamanda.
Yes.
And
I
she literally, yeah,
yes.
she got charged with wire fraud because she faked having cancer and
Yep.
was donated thousands upon thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars. And she finally got charged, but yeah, they charged her with this wire fraud. You can't take people's money under the presumption of one thing and use it for something completely different. There should
No.
be charge the DA can bring up charges. I don't know why that's not happening.
Democrats.
Huh.
Democrats.
Do I need to call the DA?
Democrats.
Yeah.
Another Democrat.
Yeah.
Think
Yeah,
about it.
what can you I know, I love how politicians can bend the law to suit them. It's not a government, it's an oligarchy.
It's an
Let's get real.
oligarchy. There you go. There you go. 'Cause whatever.
Where
I mean,
where
think about it.
everything
Think about this for think about this for a second. So
Uh-huh.
if I come broke and I broke into your house, right? I consider you to be a friend now. We're friends. I've
Yeah.
been on your husband's show. You know, you and I, we text back and forth. So I consider you to be a friend now. So if I
Yeah.
go broke into your house and the police catch me breaking into your house, what's going to happen to me?
Oh, you're gonna get pinned down, face in the mud, probably kicked a couple times, thrown up against a tree, then onto the hood and screamed at, and then they'll ask you a question and then immediately interrupt you with another question and won't even let you answer because they don't want to hear it. They just want to get you in the car and get you booked.
Right. So they take me down after all of that. They take me down. They book me.
Mm-hmm.
They just let me go.
Oh no.
Okay. All right.
They wouldn't let you go, and I would have to march my butt down there. I would have been like, "Why is he in there with someone breaking my house, man? He's my friend. Did you even think to ask the house owner?" You know what I mean? Like think black people are very mistreated by the police. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I've seen it where black men have been so polite. Well, Philando Castile, for one thing, he's sitting there telling him, I have a gun in my car with me. I have a license to carry it. He goes, Can I have your ID? Okay, I'm getting my ID. Don't touch your gun. I'm getting my ID, sir. Don't touch your gun. Bam, 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 bam. That was it. That's as quick as it went. He didn't even get a word out edgewise. All he said was, I'm trying to get my eye, and boom, boom, boom. That
That's
shouldn't
right.
happen.
So I go to court. Like I said, I broke in your house. They don't let me out on bail. I go to
No.
court, and they said that they say, well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna put that off, and you can go work wherever you work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's gonna work. I don't think that's ever gonna
No.
happen. But the Democrats made that happen. She goes and she breaks into her mother-in-law's house, right, to steal her
Yep.
dad's. Where is she at right now?
Isn't she where?
She's
I
still
can't
on.
remember.
She's still casting votes. She
Are you
broke it.
serious?
Yes, breaking and entering. She's a Democrat. They keep pushing the trial
Yeah.
off. She broke into somebody's house. She is a criminal. So how is
I
it
thought
that
they were going to trial.
because they keep
It's still
pushing it
not?
off?
Oh, she brought this burglary.
Exactly.
You would get 10 years
I would
breaking
get
into your
10
own friend's house.
Thank you very much. That's exactly what I was saying. How is it that she's still on the Hill? She's still at the Capitol. She's still casting votes. How is that happening? Because she's a Democrat.
Yep, and the Democrats want to keep the divide between white and blacks because they get votes they say in power as long as they keep black people and white people hating each other. And that's exactly why the governance. Let's put every white person on a pedestal. They break the laws. They don't get any time. Let's make them look like they have everything handed to them on a silver spoon. So then the black people start hating and resenting the white people. And
That's
let's
right.
make black people so poor and filled with crime that the white people won't want anything to do with the black people.
That's right.
That's exactly what they're doing.
That's
It's
that
divide and
right
conquer.
there is what you just said. Right there
That's
is
so
what you just
sad.
said. So
You
she
gotta
gets
change that.
so she gets to a white woman, liberal white woman. Oh, she gets to run around and live her life like nothing happened. But if it was me,
Oh yeah.
if I'm still in Shakopee right now, I would be in Shakopee getting one of my 3 meals a day. But she gets to go and at the Capitol and live her life every single day. And she's a criminal. She broke in. I don't care. You can sit there and tell me, oh, but it was family. She broke into a house. The
Yeah,
lady
she had
didn't
like
even
the
know
whole
it.
getup on too.
Right.
Did she have like the robbers like
Yep.
it was like comical. She had like everything. She had like a metal flashlight thing and like a headlamp. I mean,
Yeah.
she looked all like Mission
Tom
Impossible.
Cruise.
And then
Tom Cruise.
she gets caught. She's like, "Well, it's my family." Well, they don't. I thought I actually wasn't it her ex's family? Didn't she like recently get divorced or
Yeah,
something?
something like it
Where
was
she's
something like that.
yeah.
But it was her dad's. No, it was her dad's ashes, and
That's what it
it
was.
was the stepmom's house, and she broke into that to try to recover that. But like I said, my point of my point is because she's a Democrat, she can get away with this, and because the Republican Party is so weak, there's nothing they can do. But the
Yeah.
Republicans should be dragging her every single day. Every day
Yeah.
that she sits in committee or she votes or they count her vote. Every single day. Every day. Because
I
that doesn't make any sense to me.
well, I think if you commit any crime, misdemeanor or not, you lose the public office seat and you can never run for office again. If you can't be an upstanding citizen and be a political figure, whether it's city level or federal level, and you can't behave as a human being and do the right thing, then you don't deserve to have that seat. Give it to somebody
Well,
who does, who
well,
doesn't
the
break
guy,
into people's houses and steal ashes.
yeah.
God,
No, like I
dumbass.
said, I can see if they would have took her in, they would have ran her, and the judge would have said, you know what? Nah, we're not even going to prosecute you. We're not going to bring you to trial. We're not going to do anything. It's family, blah blah. I can get that part, but they haven't done any of that. So she gets
Yeah.
to run around scot free, like
No,
nothing
that's
ever
not
happened.
right.
That's what
Yeah,
I
I mean,
call
you would
white.
probably get arrested just being on my yeah, well, and
Right.
that is white privilege. That is, but it's like even if a cop drove past my house at midnight and you're standing on my doorstep knocking on my door, they would definitely stop saying, "What are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, they got to
Why are
find
you,
out who I am.
you know,
And if I'm
but
dressed in all
yeah,
black with a
but
light
you
on
want to know
my
what?
on here and I got a crowbar in my hand, oh, I'm in some deep trouble.
Right, right.
They're not
But
just
no,
going to escort me out of the house
no,
normally.
you're gonna put up a fight. I know you. Oh, I could just picture it. I can hear you now, Tim. But like one thing I want to stress though, especially with the black community, when you see cases like this of injustice, don't go after the victim per se or the perpetrator in this matter. She broke in. Get mad at the people that are putting this kind of shit in place. Get mad at the politicians that are constantly bending the rules to fit so they can have a voter block and things like that. Because, in all reality, I mean, granted, she's white, but it's not her fault that they let her off because she's white. I mean, they let her off because they can manipulate the system, make it look like white people are better than black people, like they would. But get mad, put that validated anger and frustration and just rage that you have dealing with racism throughout all these years and still dealing with it. But put the anger in the right places, direct it towards the right people, and that's how you're going to really start making change. Don't get mad at the person that got off because they're white. Get mad at the judge, the lawyers that were getting her off, making plea deals so they can still have a voting block at city council. That's what needs to be addressed. And as long as we can get that corruption out of our voting block, we're still going to have systemic racism when it comes to politics and votes. It's just going to keep going if we don't put a stop to it.
Well, it's the same thing what you just said there with the George Floyd. Don't get mad at George Floyd. Get mad at the system. Yeah. George Floyd, the system put Derek Chauvin in jail. Well, you know, we can talk about George Floyd all day long. We can call him names and say he was this, say he was that. But the system, the very system that has put black men in jail forever. Philip Vance right now is sitting in Rush City in prison because the system railroaded him at when he was 16 years old. He's 30-something now. He's been in there for almost 20 years on a crime he did not commit. That system is the same system that put Derek Chauvin where he's at. And many other black men who are sitting behind bars right now for having a half an ounce of weed. That system. So instead of getting mad at George Floyd and putting all your power behind being upset and being triggered by just the Black Lives Matter name or just get mad and get upset at the system that put Derek Chauvin behind the jail, because there were cops on the stand who said he did it. There were the thin blue line pointed the finger. The cops, no matter what, the blue shirts pointed the finger at Derek Chauvin. That happened in real time.
Yep. And it was kind of sad because they just kind of all stood there and did nothing. Seriously, right? I mean, granted, George Floyd was not an upstanding citizen. He was a drug addict. He, has been in prison jail, but he did not deserve to die. And when he said, "I can't breathe," that's when Derek Chauvin should have reassessed himself of how he was putting him down and restrain him in another manner where he can't breathe.
Well, once he stopped moving, you know what? I'll give Derek Chauvin that part, because George Floyd was yelling, "I can't breathe," when he was in the damn backseat of the car, right? I mean, come on. I mean, that's just, to me, so I'll give him the point up to when George Floyd was on the ground saying, "I can't breathe." Okay, you know what? I'm even going to give Derek Chauvin that. But once that man stopped moving, when he stopped moving, period, something should have been done. That is why Derek Chauvin, whether he killed him or not, he assisted in the murder of George Floyd. I don't want to hear about no trachea. I don't want to hear about no overdose. I don't want to hear about a bad heart. When that man stopped moving, he should have rolled him over. He did not do that. There was no compassion at all on Derek Chauvin's face. Derek Chauvin is in prison for that reason, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And I've seen that where cops have restrained people and stuff has happened, but then the cops immediately realize and they start doing life-saving techniques like CPR and things like that. And they could have very well have done that for George Floyd and brought him back. I'm not saying it would have been a for sure thing, but at least you can try and not just stand on his neck until he's completely just gone. I mean, come on now.
That's true.
So that's sad. True. So sad it had to happen.
Yeah. And we are where we're at now because you had a city council, you had the Democrats and the Republican Party that did not listen to the people. Had they listened to the people, now, am I going to sit here and say that the situation wouldn't have happened? But I can sit here and say that had they listened to the people, then things would have been. Oh, that's Brad Collier. You know who Brad Collier is?
I might. Sometimes I know people by a face.
He's running for governor.
Oh, well, wonderful.
Yeah,
I'll have to look him up.
Yeah, he's my guy. His name is Brad Collier. So he's running for governor. And just to let you know, I am on his ticket, and we're going to be announcing, and will be running for lieutenant governor. Yes. Really?
It's exciting.
Yeah, yeah. We wasn't going to announce it until I get back. I got to go to Memphis. I got to go to Memphis on Wednesday. My only aunt who is left on my father's side. I have no more adult family on my father. I mean, everybody's gone. Everybody's dead. She was the only one left. She passed away. So I got to go home I got to go home to Memphis, and we're going to put her to rest coming up this weekend. So that's where I'm headed to. And then when I get back, we're going to make the grand announcement that he's going to run for governor. I'm going to be running for his on his side as his lieutenant governor. So
that's awesome. I'm so proud for you. Oh gosh, I can't wait for this.
Yeah, it's gonna be, like I said, I think it's gonna be good because I want to put myself in a place to where I'm listening to the people.
Yeah.
One of my promises that I'm gonna do every Saturday, because I'm a breakfast person. I love breakfast. I love breakfast.
Town hall breakfast.
Right. So I'm gonna pick a spot every Saturday, and that's where I'm gonna be. And I expect the people of Minnesota to meet me at one of those spots on a Saturday, and I can hear from the people. The problem is these lawmakers. Well, hold on. I'll show you something real quick, and I'm gonna let you go. I usually go over just a little bit. I know because you're a very, very busy person, but
I am.
I started to tell you this story at the beginning, but I met with this guy today who has 2 kids who are autistic. They're 30 and 27 years old. Him and his wife has to take care of them. These 2 cannot take care of themselves at all. Only thing this man wanted the people at the Capitol to do, the legislators at the Capitol, was to listen to him. Don't you know they won't call this man back? That's what we.
Surprising.
Those are the people. Matter of fact, one of the House of Representative members had the Sergeant of Arms sent him a threatening email. Listen to what I just said. There was a sitting member. Yes, there was, and he wasn't mean. The man, hold on now. He wasn't mean. He didn't say nothing mean. He just wanted them to listen to him because he's taking care of 2 autistic males. Those are his kids, his biological kids, and he needed help. And nobody wanted to hear him. Nobody wanted to listen to him. So I get the phone call. He calls me. I met him today, and he tells me that a sitting member, a legislator, literally had the Sergeant of Arms send him a threatening letter. These are people we vote into office.
Wow.
And I'm going to release the name of that said legislator, of that said House of Representative guy, as soon as he lets me. But it happened. It happened. And I'm not sitting back and letting these assholes treat people the way that they do.
I know. They bully him, and then they're like, well, you depend on me. There's nothing else you could do about it.
Right. What they did to him is uncalled for. It's uncalled for.
I have 2 children on the spectrum.
Oh,
Luckily, my
okay.
kids are high functioning. Well,
Okay.
my grandson is very low functioning. He couldn't hear. He was deaf because he had blocked ears, but he's nonverbal. He has motor skill issues, and I see them struggle with just one child. I can't imagine. And this is
Two.
a 3-year-old. Yeah, and like having grown men that can't take care of themselves, I can't imagine what they're going through. And then trying to get SSDI, trying to get Social Security benefits, forget that. Trying to get help here and there. It's like I really feel like these communities and situations like this, we really got to start leaning on our community,
Right.
like charity type things, and start, having companies sponsor stuff and not depend on the government. Have companies sponsor this because, hey, one thing companies love is a good tax break, and if they donate money, you gotta get a tax break. So make that incentive for them and start getting company-sponsored programs and things like that, and not depend on the government. We just got to figure out how to do it a different way and stop depending on the government for so much. So,
Well, Winnie, I thank you so much for giving me an hour of your time today. Really, I mean,
oh, this
like I
was
said,
so
it's
fun.
funny how fast time goes by when you
I
can have
know.
chemistry with somebody and you can just talk. You know what I mean? And I looked up. I was like, oh my God, we just literally went through an hour.
I know. We're just gonna have some live shows where we could just have an audience just talk about stuff.
Well,
I would
I'm gonna
talk
say this
though.
to you point blank, no ifs, ands, or buts. That link that I sent you, it never
Hmm.
changed. It never
Oh,
changes.
okay.
So
All right,
I'm
perfect.
here Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at seven
Okay.
o'clock. What I'm
All
saying to
right.
you is this. The door is open. You don't have to call me and say, hey, Rev, are you going to be on tonight? Rev is on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 7 o'clock. I got nothing to do. I'm going to go hang
Oh,
out with him.
perfect. I will do that. I'll just say I'm popping on. I'll just send you your text. I'm popping on tonight, and then I'll just hop right on. Maybe
Only
we
thing
can
I
even
have to
get
do is
Dave
push a
on a
button
couple
down
times.
here and you're right there. So I'm
Maybe I
leaving
could
that door
try
open.
and convince
So
Dave.
so what I'm saying to you is this. I'm not asking you to come on no more. You come on when you
Okay,
want to.
okay. I will be honored to come on to your program whenever I want to and have time, which I have a feeling I won't make time because this was a lot of fun. I like having these discussions. It's very important. We got to start looking at ourselves. Except, I mean, one thing I remember, like as a kid, everyone thought how being different was so bad. I love people. I like learning about people's differences other than my own because it's boring if we were all the same. Can you
Right
imagine?
right
We're
here.
like, oh God. We're so bored, but I love the different cultures and the colors and everything, and I'm all for world peace. So thank you so much for having me on, and I will be on again soon.
Well, I hope so, Winnie. I appreciate you. And you have an awesome night. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye bye now. Hey, fam. Well, how's it going? Anyway, we're going to get off of here. Again, Winnie gave me the opportunity. She said she'd come on and hang out with me. She is a dear friend of mine. And we just decided to come on here and just cut up. We didn't, we kind of had a couple things to talk about. We didn't get to a few of them. But she, I told her I'll take her for an hour. She is a very, very, very busy individual there. And she's going to probably get off of my mind. And then she has a show that she does also. I'm going to have her put that out on my Twitter. So you guys, if you want to go and check her show out, she's really good. I was on her show last week. I think last week is when I did her show. So let's cross our fingers. Like I said, like I told her, I'm not asking her to come back on. I'm not. She's going to come on when she wants to. She's got the key now. I should not. She's got the key now. But anyway, people, I just want to say this here to you. Like I said, I learned a lot today. I had the opportunity to meet with a man today that is trying to figure out what he can do to help and to be successful in raising. He's got two artistic kids. Well, they're not kids. They're men that are very, very low on the spectrum to a point that where they can't take it. I'm repeating this again because I really want you guys to listen to what I'm telling you. I really want you to hear this. This is how those people that you vote into office, you did it. You did it. This is how they treat people. Only thing this man wants to do is to get people to acknowledge the point that people like him who are taking care of his are getting raked over the coal. He needed an outlet to talk to somebody. And the very people that y'all vote into office turned their backs on this man. To the point to where, like he said, he had no other place. So he calls me. I met him today, had a 2-hour meeting with him today. I'm not sitting back and letting these people get away with this. Everybody who's involved, their name will be out there. I am going to name every single one of them. And if that's the people you want to vote for, then there's something wrong with you. But everybody who was this man tried to get in contact with, and he gave me the name. I've got the names. Every one of those legislators that this man tried to get in contact with, I'm going to let y'all know. And if you want to vote for someone, oh, matter of fact, I'll tell you one of them right now. Julia Coleman. I'll tell you her name now. Representative Julia Coleman. I wasn't supposed to say that, but you know what? I'm pissed. I ain't holding back. I told y'all, I don't play around. Ask her, get in touch with her and ask her why she hadn't called this man back. Ask her, why is she not going to do the job that y'all voted her in the office for? No, seriously, that's what I need you to do. I need you to find out for me why she can't do her damn job. Why she is not calling this man back. She should be on the phone right now talking to this man. Julia Coleman. So I'm going to give you that one. There's a couple of more. There's a couple of more. There's one who actually sicked the guards on this man. This is an old guy. This guy wouldn't hurt. I guarantee you, if you met this guy, well, he's old and he's slow, so there's no way in the world he's going to hurt anybody. He's taking care of two grown men who are low on the spectrum, who couldn't take care of themselves, and it's just him and his wife. They don't have a job. They can't work because of their kids. And you're going to tell me a representative is literally going to run from him, is literally going to hang the phone up on him, is literally not going to call him back, not going to email him back? Is that who you guys vote into office? Is that what our representative is supposed to be doing? Is that what the people at the Capitol should be doing to the very people that needs help? Make me understand that. Make me understand why Julia Coleman cannot call this man back. Somebody make me understand that. But somebody need to make a phone call and ask her. And if I'm wrong, I'll get on here and I'll swear up and down it was totally my fault. But I sat there today for 2 hours and I listened to his story and I listened to the things that he tries to get done and make happen. For him to have people turn their backs on him. The very people you all vote into office. That's why the system is so messed up. Because they sit, I told you, I keep telling y'all this, and every single time I got examples for you, and y'all just don't want to hear what I have to say. But I'm right all the time. These people come to you and they say, we want to work for you. They've never told you they want to work with you because they don't. They don't want to work with you. They want to go up there and do whatever they, if they really wanted to do something for us, they wouldn't be up there doing what they're doing now. $600 million wouldn't have walked out of Minnesota. We wouldn't have the deficit that we're in right now if they were really working for you. But they lie to you, and you vote for them, and you put them into office, and this is what you get. These boneheads, listen to me. So they decided, or they're going to decide, and if they keep pushing, it's going to happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these porta potty type shelter get up things in downtown Minneapolis. And the reason they're doing it is because people are pissing and taking poops all over downtown Minneapolis to the point where it's getting nasty. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing. Them talking about, oh, we need to have these here public facilities. The only reason we need the public is because the homeless are pissing and taking a poop all over. There's so many that's walking the city, so many going through the city. That's why. It's not for the normal everyday public who goes down there and shop. That's not what these things are for. So let's be on the straight and narrow. They're gonna lie to you and try to get you to believe that, but that's not what it's for. It's because this homeless is pooping and pissing everywhere, and it's beginning to stink and smell downtown. So now, watch this. So now they're going to go buy all of these little huts, toilet type things, and then they're going to need money from the taxpayers to clean them, to fix them when they tear them down, to chase out any homeless person who makes it a home, who makes it a drug den, because that's what they're going to turn out to be. That's what's going to happen. All on taxpayers' money, as if they haven't spent our money on stupid things already. That's not working with us. That's doing whatever you want to do with our money, like they have already done. The Democrats have tore this state apart like no other time that I've ever been. I moved here in 1990. Yeah, it was bad. It was going through some stuff, but it wasn't this bad. It wasn't this bad. But y'all voted them in. Y'all put them in the office. And the very people you voted in and the very people you put in the office has decided to do whatever they want, however they want, whenever they want. They're at a point to where you've got a man who is looking for help. I mean, he's an old guy. 2 kids, 2 boys, 2 grown men. They can't take care of themselves because they're autistic. Very, very low on, as he said, their cognitive difficulty. They don't have social skills. And him and his wife, who are in their 70s, have to keep trying to take care of them. And only thing he wanted was those people that you voted into office to give him the time of day. And they couldn't do it. So Julia Coleman, you're up. You're up. Until I hear from you, I will keep blasting your name. I'm easy to get a hold of. Go talk to one of the other Republican people on your side of the fence. They got my number. There's a lot of them who has my number. But this is a conversation we need to have, Julia Coleman. Anyway, fam, I've had a good one. I appreciate you. I thank Winnie for hanging out. I thank all you all who hung out with us tonight. Thank you very much. And like I said before, it's all about coming together with people and having the conversation, right? Just people popped in tonight and be like, oh, Reb got a white woman on. Look, I'm like that. I like people, period, point blank. Period, point blank. I like people. Always been this way, always will be. I like people. And Winnie is a good person. She's good people. I like talking to her. Her husband, Dave Schrader, know him too. But anyway, hey, I'm done. I appreciate y'all. I thank you very much. Like I said, it was one of those nights that she was free. I finally got her. We was going to hop on here and have a good time. But I'm heading down to Memphis, Tennessee. So we ask you for your prayers during our travel. Got to go down there and put my family member to rest. My last family member on my father's side of the family. That's it. I have no more on his side. They are all passed. So that's where I'm going to be for a while. And I'm going down there to eat too. You know, my other aunt on my mom's side, she can cook like you wouldn't believe. So I'll be down there eating. I'll probably come back here, probably, 13, 14 pounds fatter than I was before I left here. But let's end the night like we always end the night, realizing and understanding that we serve a mighty God, an awesome God, a God that no matter what you do, no matter how you done it, no matter who you done it to, will make sure that everything about you will come back clean. Right? It doesn't matter how dirty you've got yourself. And I know a lot of people, be like myself, who have said over and over and over again, God don't want me after I've done what I've done. But God wants you. He just wants your heart, your mind, your body, and your soul. So all you have to do is give him and have faith in him that he's going to do the things that he tells you that he's going to do. When he tells you he'll never leave you, he'll never forsake you, he meant that. When he lets you know that you're the apple of his eye, he meant that. When he says, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. You can walk. God is going to be right there with you. That's not something that I think. That's not something somebody told me. That's something that I know of. And because he's a good God, because he's an awesome God, because he's a God of compassion, he's a God that gave you the grace and mercy to be here on today, is he not? And because of that, everybody should have a smile on their face. And y'all know what we do with those smiles. We go out and we smile at somebody, so somebody smile back at us. Y'all have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Peace, fam. I'm out.